had 9v, was it 9v9, 9v10, 4, 8, 9, 10. So 10 in the defensive team, 9 in the attacking team. The same as this, except we added a stopper, a number 3. Yeah, and we had the goalkeepers, so obviously, you know, taking it more realistic, and we gave the opposition 3 goals, something to play for, an objective, I guess.
Okay, so you've got you've identified your objective, you're happy with the behaviours, you're happy with solving your problem, and then you go into a training game, which is, by definition, a game involving 2 even teams used to conclude the session. Let's talk about the transition from what you've done here in the design to what you've done here. Do they mirror?
Well, he had a goalkeeper.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first one is the goalkeeper.
Yeah, good improvement.
Okay, so it's realistic.
Realistic.
As what Dave has just pointed out, we've always got to go back to the heart of an 11v11 situation within what you're trying to solve. Okay? So the goalkeeper's been introduced. Let's talk about the team, the non-possession team, or the blue team. In the design here, they've got that. What have they got there?
An extra goal.
An extra goal.
Yeah.
So you're doing 2 banks of 4 with a target of a 9 and 10 in the old traditional way. Here you've got 2 banks of 4 with the target of a 7, 9 and 11.
And that guy there.
And that guy there. So think about it, and it's not there in writing or there sort of painted, but how many players have you effectively got on the ground? Just thinking about it. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
12.
So this is where design is crucial, because you want to make this transfer here from the success that you're getting to saying, taking away these little cones and restrictions and just stepping back and saying, here's an 11v11 game. I've coached in my game training, and bingo, they're doing it in a free game. Ivan. Yeah.
What was the consideration for putting the 3 goals in? Because I can agree with Joe, but I can also find a scenario to disagree with him. What was the consideration?
Well, to incentivise them to attack, because here, although they had the 2 goals, it was very defensive, but we wanted to create a realism, I guess, and give them some incentive to go forward. Yeah, and
So the question
I
is
guess
this.
Yes, I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, you're right. The question is this. So in a 4-4-2, let's just say a team, the right winger, the right midfielder wins the ball, where would he win it, and is it feasible for him to actually dribble it down the line?
Yes, it does.
So is that goal there as a wrong, right?
Instead of scoring, run through the goal. That's a perfect 4-4-2 scenario, because right, left wing, they go down.
So if the scenario was that you think you want to pass out to there, I think Joe's got a very valid. If you say you must score through the middle one with a pass, but dribble through the wide ones, is that realistic? Absolutely. Mate, I won the ball out here, and I want to dribble forward. There's that goal. Pass through that goal as I'm dribbling, no, that's blocked, pass through there, that's where my 9 and 10 is. So just, like I said, it's always what do you gain, what do you lose, but the thought process of getting to 3 goals needs to be very, very clearly understood and thought through, which is where we're heading as a group. Because 3 goals might work. Giving you a scenario where it will. Joe's giving you a scenario where the thought process,
Maybe,
if you want to pass out there, no, it won't work. It will work, but you're not getting most out of your session.
One other thing which was noticeable you've finished your game training. Should there be a lot of set-up time in getting into your training game? Should it be a pretty easy transition?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
Time wasting?
Yeah, you remove the restriction from the game training and you just transition the training game, so you just have to remove those corner restrictions.
Yeah, and there was one noticeable thing. There was a lot of time in setting up. You know, we got to do this, we got to do that. There should be, mate. You've just coached some success. You've just gone in there. Your main meat of coaching. You've gone in there. There's been some success here. We're changing. We're identifying problems. These guys want to play. These guys want to play. You keep them standing around for another 10, 15 minutes, setting up little goals and they'll probably lose what you've just worked on. But more importantly, just the time it takes. Okay, so that was one noticeable little, I think, coaching habit which was really, really important. Yes, Ivan.
So I want to make that transition from one to another, and I can't just pull out what could you have done, Dave? What could you have done to make it easier to transition from one to the other? Even though the setup might not be the same, because it's not always that the game training will resemble the training game, the training game at the end. There might be additional tones. What could you have done?
Could have just used the other side of the pitch.
Sorry?
Used the other side of the pitch.
Maybe.
And it all set up.
Yeah. What else?
Get the assistant to put the cones out while you come.
Design the game training inside the training game area.
Maybe that.
What was that, sorry?
I could have, the 3 other goals, I thought the ground was bigger, I'll just make sure they were out there. I don't know, if they may have been out there, but you can design it.
Ready to go.
Rightio, yellow cones, get them off. All of a sudden now we're playing with the red cones.
And it looks more professional, organised.
Just little bits and pieces. And like I said, it's just allowed, because I think the players do want to play. They want to play.
What about the 4 main moments? Do we have a lot of that? BP? Is there a lot of BP?
Yeah.
What about BPO situations? Yeah. Transition from both?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Joe, where in our thinking of the designing game training and into a training game do we have, or should we be focused on? We've got 12 players in this. That's how many are going into the next game training.
The FFA model, Lachlan, I mean, and you'll see it going through, is from a passing practice to a positional game to training game. We should be using the same amount of numbers of players.
That's not negotiable.
That's not negotiable.
So that's not
Okay.
negotiable, and you as coaches, think if you're the player that's not in the passing practice, but yeah, we'll take, what's he doing? Right? You can't go back to your club and have kids and even at VPL, whatever. It doesn't happen.
So your consideration of numbers is crucial in your design. So you'd want to think that the flow and the link of all the 4 components of the training session would end up in your game, and everyone has been involved, or in some manner you've been able to be specific in the areas or the positional areas that you want to work on, ending up with that. Yes?
Joe, just a question with regards to the numbers, and I guess we were looking at using that elite programming structure at the moment. Taking that away and going back when we leave this course and we go back to our clubs, etc., various age groups, seniors, juniors, we don't have 20, 18 players to work with. So how do we then condense, if we're trying to do a scenario where we're doing 11v11 or 10v10 or 9v9, how do we then scale that back to a realist point where we've got maybe 12 kids or 14 senior players? How do we do that then?
Okay, so I think the key thing out of this course is we'll give you some ideas on what to coach here, but the reality is we hope to give you the tools to actually be able to design and deal with that particular scenario. So, we don't come here and say you have to run that particular session.
No,
But if you only had 12 players,
Yeah.
how do you think you'd do it, guys? Let's discuss it. You'd reduce the numbers, you'd still, it might be two banks of 2, I don't know, 2 banks of 3, but then you'd make the pitch narrow it. Right? All we say is, as the coach, that's something you need to deal with. Because I play in every session for 20 plays and only 16 rock up, so what do? I go, sorry boys, can't do the session, see you later, go home, all the everything done. That's coaching. Holger Rossi, mate, he had 20 plays and David reported,
Had
you know,
past tense.
well, they're all gone. Half the guys gone, injured. Oh, I can't play this week, guys. Don't worry about it. Go back to your clubs. That's the reality of coaching. That's the reality of coaching. You'll have the tools to design so that you can cope with the numbers that you've got. I don't think I've got the answer, is what I'm saying. All I know is, looking at that and the methodology we've undertook, I think we're all comfortable enough to say, if I only had 15 plays, 12 plays, whatever, we'd be confident enough to say, yeah, I think I can replicate that with fewer plays. Make it 2 banks of 3 and make it narrower.
We could peel back from go back to the small-sided formations as well, yeah, 3-2.
That's exactly right. Obviously, we hope you've got the tools to think through that problem, which is a very realistic
And it's a common,
problem.
we've all had that challenge, you know.
And you don't have half a pitch. You get allocated.
A quarter.
And all I'm saying is, don't come into the course and go, yeah, but that's perfect for when I am an A-League coach and just park it. I'd say you've wasted your money coming on the course. Waiting for that opportunity when you do have half a pitch, do have 20 players, they're semi-professional, they get paid and they're there every week. That might never happen. Right? But it's a methodology we're working it through.
Could you use a mannequin or solve something?
Mannequin, you can use codes, you can use targets, we hope that we'll give you the cards to pull out so that you've got the confidence to make those adjustments quickly, but still achieve your session objective and your outcomes. That's what we hope. We can't give you every card though, because I'm still working them out as we go.